Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiret Nashta Prasho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Hare Krishna. Today we continue in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4, the appearance of Sri Narada, Shloka number 13, 14, 15 and 16. Please read after me. Only one person, one devotee unmute and all other are muted. All others are reciting in mind. Tat sarvam nah samachakshva. Tat sarvam na samachakshva. Prushta yat iha kinchana. Manne tvam vishahe vacham. Snatam annatra chandasat. Dvapare sutta uvacha. Dvapare samanu prapte. Trutiye yuga paryaye. Jata parasharata yogi. Vasavyam kalaya are. Sah kadachit sarasvatya. Upasprishtya jalam shuchi. Vivikta eka asina. Udite ravi mandale. Para avaragya sah. Rushi kalena. Avektaranasa. Yuga dharma vyatikaram praptam. Bhuvi yuge yuge. Tat sarvam na samachakshva. Prushta yat iha kinchana. Manne
Sarvam
tvam
na
vishaye vacham.
samachakshva pushpo yat iha kinchana.
Manne tvam vishaye vacham.
Manne tvam vishaye vachan.
Snatam anyatra chandasat.
Snatam anyatra chandasat.
Suta uvacha.
Suta uvacha.
Dvapare samanu prapte.
Dvapare saman uprapte.
Trutiye yuga paryaye.
Trutiye yuga paryaye.
Jata parashodat yogi.
Jata parasharat yogi.
Vasavyam kalaya hare.
Vasavyam kalaya harehe.
Sah kadachit sarasvatya.
Sa kadachit sarasvatya.
Vasav, sorry. Upasprishtya jalam shuchi.
Upasprushya jalam shuchihi. Vivikta eka asin.
Vivikta eka asina.
Vivikta eka
Udite
asina.
ravi mandale.
Udite ravi mandale.
Para avaragya sarushihi.
Para avaragya saharushihi.
Kalena avektaranasa.
Kalena vyaktaram vasa.
Yuga dharma vyatikaram.
Yuga dharma vyatikaram.
Praptam bhuvi yuge yuge.
Praptam bhuvi yuge yuge. Tat sarvam na samachakshva. Prushta yat iha kinchana. Manne tvam vishe vachan. Snatam anyatra chandasat. Suta uvacha. Dvapare sama anuprapte. Trutiye yuga paryaye. Jatah parasharat yogi. Vasavyam kalaya hare. Sa kadachit sarasvatya. Upasprushya jalam shuchi. Vivikta eka asina. Udite ravi mandale. Para avaragya saharushihi. Kalena avyaktaram hasa. Yuga dharma vyatikaram. Praptam bhuvi yuge yuge.
Sridhar Prabhuji, please read.
Hare Krishna. Tat sarvam na samasakshva brishto yat iha kinchanam manye tvam vishaye vacham snatam anyatra sasarat dvapare sudau vacha dvapare samana prapto drishtiga yuga paryate jada पराचरात् योगी वासव्यां कलये हरे स कदाचित् सरस्वत्या उपस्पृत्य जलं शुचिः विविक्त एक आसीन उदितेन विमण्डले परावरज्ञा सृषि कालो काले नाव्यक्त रस्मा रसहला युग धर्म व्यधिकरं प्राप्तं भुवि युगे युगे. हरे कृष्ण.
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We know that you are expert in the meaning of all subject except some portions of the Vedas, and thus you can clearly explain the answers to all the questions we have just put to you. Sutta Goswami said, when the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage Vyāsadeva was born to Parashar in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu. Once upon a time, he, Vyāsadeva, as the sun rose, took his morning ablution in the waters of the Saraswati and sat alone to concentrate. The great sage Vyāsadeva saw the anomalies in the duties of the millennium. This happens on the earth in different ages due to the unseen forces in the course of time. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The difference between the Vedas and the Puranas is like that between the Brāhmaṇas and administer some fruitive sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas. But the Parivrājakas are learned preachers are meant to disseminate transcendental knowledge to one and all. As such, the Parivrājakas are not always expert in pronouncing the Vedic mantras, which are practiced systematically by ascent and meter by the Brāhmaṇas, who are meant for administering Vedic rites. Yet it should not be considered that the Brāhmaṇas are more important than the itinerant preachers. They are one and different simultaneously because they are meant for the same end in different ways. There is no difference also between the Vedic mantras and what is explained in the Puranas and Itihasas. According to Srila Goswami, it is mentioned in the Madhyandini Shruti that all the Vedas, namely the Sam, Atharva, Rug, Yajur, Puranas, Itihasas, Upanishads, etc., are ancient from the breathing of the Supreme Being. The only difference is that the Vedic mantras are mostly begun with praṇava Omkara, and it requires some training to practice the metric pronunciation of the Vedic mantras. But also that does not mean that Srimad Bhagavatam is of less importance than is the ripened fruit of all the Vedas, as stated before. Besides that, the most perfectly liberated soul, Srila Śukadeva Gosvāmī, is absorbed in the studies of the Bhagavatam, although he is already self-realized. Srila Sukadeva Gosvāmī is following his footsteps, and therefore his position is not the least less important because he was not expert in chanting Vedic mantras with metric pronunciation, which depends more on practice than actual realization. Realization is more important than parrot-like chanting. There is a chronological order of the 4 millennium, namely Satya, Dwapar, Treta, and Kali. But sometimes there is overlapping. During the reign of Vaivasvat Manu, there was an overlapping of the 28th round of the 4 millennium, and the 3rd millennium appeared prior to the 2nd. and because of this, there was some particular alteration. The mother of the great sage was Satyavati, the daughter of the Vasu, fisherman, and the father was the great Parashar Muni. That is the history of Vyasadeva's birth. Every millennium is divided into 3 periods, and each period is called a Sandhya. Vyasadeva appeared in the third Sandhya of that particular age. The river Saraswati is in the Badrikashram area of the Himalayas. So the place indicated here, Samyapas in Badrikashram. Vyasadeva is residing like our, and therefore they can see clearly past and future. They could see the future anomalies in the Kali age, and accordingly he made arrangement for the people in general so that they can execute a progressive life in this age, which is full of darkness. The people in general in this age of Kali are too much interested in matter which is temporary because of ignorance. They are unable to evaluate the assets of life and be enlightened spiritual knowledge. Om Jnanatimirandasya Shalakaya Chakshutam Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guroho Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Savna Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Krishna Padan Sagana Sri Namo Srimate Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhecha Krupa Sindhube Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Sri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vyāsadeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. We try to understand chapter 4, canto 1, shloka number 13 to 16. Here they're describing about all the sage Shonakrushi told that under an expert in all the subjects. So they want which the question putting upon there, they should answer that question. Here from shloka number 14 to add, Śukadeva Gosvāmī replying their questions in detail, where he was sitting, what he do, and what he saw the anomalies, all that the Prabhuji will tell us. Ancha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this recitation of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is something which is very, very important. And why we are starting the discussion today with this shloka is because in the 13th shloka, what Prabhupada ji is talking about is the difference between Vedas, Puranas. So, because this Bhagavatam, this is the ripened fruit of all the literature. So, Prabhupada ji is mentioning the difference is as good as the difference between a Brahmana and a Parivrājakacharya. So if you have to understand this purport in detail, what we need to understand first is who is a Brahmana. So that is already what we have discussed previously as well. Brahmam janati iti Brahmana. So one who has realized Brahman and who is going to go ahead with that teaching only is a Brahmana. But the Parivrājakacharya is something who is going to be much more than a Brahman. A Brahman would always be reciting with his own place of abode, whatever it is, his own village, in his own locality, wherever he is situated in. But a Parivrājakacharya, he will never be limited to one geographical position or a place. He would never stay at one place. He'll continuously keep moving. And that is why the name Parivrājaka Acharya. So someone who is roaming around. Vrajaka, Pari. And how? He is an Acharya as well. Acharya means one who is teaching with his own example, with his own achar. That is why Parivrājakacharya is different as compared to Brahman, though both are one and the same. The Brahmana is meant to administer the yajnas, the karma yajnas. That is why Prabhupada uses the word fruitive sacrifices, which are mentioned in the Vedas. The Parivrājakacharyas, who are the learned preachers, they are there to disseminate the transcendental knowledge to one and all. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. That is what Parivrājakacharyas are doing. And as such, their intention is to make people understand about the ultimate truth, the absolute truth. So they may not be expert in pronouncing the Vedic mantras, which are practiced systematically by accent and meter by the Brāhmaṇas, who are actually meant for administering the Vedic rituals, the Vedic rites. Even in our group, you would find that the meter with which we speak amongst ourselves, they're different. So, a Brahmana, because he is going to be a part of the Yajna, the Yajna Ahuti and the Yajna Devata are pleased when everything is spoken in a particular meter, in a particular accent. And that is why Brahmanas are expert in that. While a Parivrājakacharya, his intention is not preaching the Yajna Devata, but to make everyone aware that who is the Yajneshwara. Bolo Bhagwan Shri Krishna ki Jai. So, practically, there is no difference between Vedic mantras and what is explained in Puranas and Itihasas. Because finally, both are leading to the one only. And that is our Lord Krishna, who is happy in his Golok Vrindavan. In fact, Sri Jiva Goswami ji mentions that there's a book, Madhyandina Shrutihi, where it is stated that all Vedas, Vedas means your Sam, Atharva, Rig, Yajur Vedas. So all Vedas, Puranas, Itihasas, Upanishads, etc., they are come from the breathing of the Lord. So the only difference is that the Vedic mantras, they will begin with praṇava Omkara. Om. And it requires some training to practice the metric pronunciation of the Vedic mantras. A liberated soul. Now let's look at Śukadeva Gosvāmī ji. He is the most perfectly liberated soul. And he is absorbed in studies of Bhagavatam, though he is already self-realized. So what it indicates is that Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit. You may not know the Vedic mantras, the pronunciations, the meters, but if you know Bhagavatam, that is what is the essence. The most liberated soul, Śukadeva Gosvāmī ji, was absorbed in the studies of Bhagavatam. And Sri Sudha Goswami ji is following his footsteps. And that is why here Shaunakadi Rishi who have gathered there, and Shaunak Muni, who is speaking as a leader on behalf of the assembly, he is saying that the position of Sudha Goswami ji is not the least less important, because though he may not be expert in chanting Vedic mantras with metric pronunciation, he was actually self-realized. The pronunciation will depend on practice. While what here Sudha Goswami ji was having is actual realization. So realization is more important than parrot-like chanting of the mantras. So those who say that no, you are not able to chant properly the mantras, the meter is not proper, no issues, Prabhuji, Mataji. We will try to learn. But first, we want to realize Krishna and bring him in our day-to-day activities. That is more important in our Bhagavatam studies that we are doing every day at 8 p.m. And the realization would be more stronger when we are able to spread the message of Krishna consciousness to everyone. And that is why Jare Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Updesh, or alternately Jare WhatsApp Tare WhatsApp Ke Bhejo Krishna Upadesh. So whosoever's WhatsApp is there, whosoever WhatsApp is being sent, send Krishna Upadesh on that WhatsApp. Jare status, Jare DP, Raho Keval Krishna Bhagwan. So whatever is your display picture, whether on your this media or that social media, it has to be Krishna. That is the realization. And look at Krishna. He's so expert. When he comes, actually, he gives indications also. Ideally, our 4 millenniums, the yugas, Satya, Dvapar, Treta, Kali iti. So, they come in this sequence. Satya followed by Dvapar, then Treta, and then Kali. But when Krishna is appearing, there is a change. Like, we have seen the Manus. So, in each regime of Vasvat Manu, the Chatur Yugas, they happen around, we have seen so many times they are happening. So in the 20th round of this Chatur Yuga, under Vaivasvat Munu's rule, which is right now, in that it happened that Treta came before Dwapar. That is what is mentioned in Shloka number 14, that there was an overlap. So, it is in this millennium only that Krishna descends. And because of this, there was this alteration. Now, when such thing is happening, simultaneously something else is also happening. Satyavati was daughter of Vasu, who was a fisherman. And she was once driving the boat from one shore to the other shore. And Parashar Muni was there. In fact, we are going to be seeing this birth history in detail now. So, that is the time which resulted in the appearance of Vyāsadevas. So, Satyavati and Parashar Muni were the parents of Vyāsadeva. And his appearance, his birth was such that he came in the third Sandhya, the Trisandhya of the millennium. So, even the millenniums, they are divided into 3 periods. So, he came in the third period of that millennium. So, this is how it is happening. This is how it changes. So, we see that Vyasadevji's appearance also is not ordinary. And so his activities were also not ordinary at all. So one day, he was in his ashram. So that is Samya Prash in Badrika ashram, where Vyāsadeva used to reside. And there used to be Saraswati river, which used to flow there from the Himalayas. Now Saraswati river is something which we feel is extinct, but the modern imagery sciences, they are proving that it is still there. The path has been found. So in the morning, he completed his daily activities, and as the sun was rising, he gave the oblations and sat alone to concentrate. Now he was a liberated soul. And since he was a liberated soul, he could clearly see the past and the future. He was Trikaldarshi. So he could see the anomalies of how the millennium is changing, how they are not following the proper sequence. And this happens because of some unseen force of time. And Krishna says that he is the time. So he could understand that yes, something is going to happen. And at the same time, in the future, he could see that the Kali was also going to be anomalous. So he had to make arrangements for the people in general so that they could execute their progressive life. Otherwise, this Kali Yuga is full of darkness. The people here are more interested in matter. They're attached to matter, though they know that it is ashashvata. But because of ignorance, we cannot evaluate the assets of life and be enlightened in spiritual knowledge. And so, Vyāsadeva ji, he could see it and he decided he needs to do something. And we'll continue the study the story further tomorrow. Hare Krishna.